Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right, Geminis, let's do a little quick peek at the month of May and what is perhaps the big ticket items in May. We have a Two of Swords. Gemini could find themselves at a bit of a crossroads. We see possibly Libra, Gemini, Aquarius sitting here wondering what move to make next. So there could be some decision where it's like Gemini is possibly going to take their time and really evaluate things. Death card and Hanged Man. They've been, this looks like Gemini's been delaying making the choice to let something or someone go, possibly a Scorpio or a Pisces. And it kind of looks like that is going to continue. Like Gemini's still not going to know, is this over? Is it done? I feel like it should be, but at the same time, I'm not sure. It almost feels like Gemini is waiting on their next move. Are they done sacrificing themselves so that then I can make a decision about, because this is a chess game. And it could be that Gemini's like, I can't make my next move for sure until I see what they're going to do. So it could be that Gemini is waiting for somebody else, possibly a masculine, to stop like over sacrificing himself instead of like choosing happiness. Yeah, we have a Seven of Swords and we have the Tower. Okay, so there is a shakeup in May. Um, Here's the thing. This could go either direction. This could be that Gemini has been lying to themselves, saying, I think I'm about ready to cut this loose, when they're like, truth be told, I'm not ready to cut this loose. I'm really not. Even if somebody keeps lollygagging and they're dragging their feet and they're still sacrificing themselves somewhere else, it almost feels like Gemini is starting to realize the truth is I am the one who's been waiting. I am the one who's been delaying. I say I'm waiting on somebody else who's delaying, but it might be me that's delaying making the decision. So that could give Gemini all their freedom. Sometimes I like the Tower. The Tower is big change in perspective. And I kind of think this is such a great, I think that a character has to be very mature and very self aware to be able to say, man, here I am. When are they going to quit procrastinating? When are they going to quit sacrificing themselves? And then it's like, wait a second, maybe I'm procrastinating. Maybe I'm holding my own self back, waiting on them, saying, when are they going to get ready to do something? Okay, that's like, oh, embarrassing, or maybe I've been the one doing that too and didn't see it in myself. I just think that to be able to be that self-reflective, I would just say that this is Gemini being very mature, which kudos to them for that. We have a High Priestess sideways. I definitely feel like it's two people, both realizing maybe at about the same time. I think Gemini has been waiting on someone, and that someone has been waiting for themselves to like detach from a situation. And I feel like it's both people are acknowledging this at about the same time, like, hey, let me figure out what I've been doing here. I love it because the month of May seems to be a month that characters take control of their own actions and just own it and be like, wait a second, I'm delaying my own self. Okay, let me address that. So Gemini is doing it, but so too is this potential water sign masculine. Princess of Wands. And with that, we are done delaying. This definitely, Gemini's done delaying. Gemini may have a decision that they make. I don't know. I'm thinking like pretty early in May, maybe on like the 2nd of May. They make a decision in their own mind. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put on my adorable skirt with this slit that's, halfway up my thigh. And I'm going to put on my favorite heels and I'm going to take myself out. I'm not going to wait for this masculine who's giving his energy to everyone but me because he feels responsible for everybody else. I'm not going to be the person who's waiting on him, tapping my foot, going, when is he going to make a change? I'm making a change. And for me, it means I'm going out, strutting my stuff. I'm single. I'm ready to mingle. I am ready to interact. It just feels like Gemini is taking charge of their life and they are going to be like ready to walk into the great unknown. This is somebody who has a really good like sense of self-worth and sense of self. We've got the Hierophant upright. If this masculine is having the same kind of awakening that Gemini is, and I would say that that's the case because we have the High Priestess sideways, so it's the deep inner knowledge that of what's been hidden. And it's like I would even think that the masculine might be realizing, holy smokes, Gemini's been waiting on me to get my act together, and they're going to be done waiting on me. They're going to be out there strutting their stuff. Why wouldn't they be? I mean, why have I not made decisions? Why have I not got my act together? You know what? Damn it, I'm getting my act together. And I almost feel like this sense of like awakening gets him super aligned. Now, what's interesting is that we don't see that he was like off in some other relationship per se. This is a card of martyrdom and sacrifice. But here, he himself just needed to awaken and align himself to hearing like his own connection to his higher self. So I would just say that for him, he needed to take charge of his life, but it doesn't look like he was with other, like in some other romance or anything like that. It just seems like he wasn't feeling, maybe we could even say grown up enough to determine what he wanted in life. And now he's like, what am I doing? Who's going to run my life if not me? And it just feels like he's like really taking charge now of his own life, which is great. We have the Devil, and this is a very lusty Devil card. Look, there could be a very passionate night ahead somewhere in the month of May. Gemini and this person could wind up back in each other's arms, or this is Gemini actually connecting to somebody else, possibly a Capricorn. Three of Cups, it does look like Gemini is going to have some choices. This feels like a month of dating, a month of interacting, a month of, kissing different lips, a month of getting to know other people. I do feel like the person Gemini was waiting on is possibly also going to show up on the scene, but we definitely have Gemini kind of in a place of, maybe I just want to make myself happy for a change. Maybe I'm going to let myself, kick up my heels for once. This is a card of indulgence and sometimes self-indulgence to excess. I don't really know that Gemini is somebody who has a lot of like lighthearted dating and stuff like that. But here it says, if they try that, I don't think that it's going to fit very well for them. Like, I don't think that feels very natural to them. Going out on a couple different dates, being very attracted to one or two other people. Yeah, but I don't know. This gives me the vibe of Gemini might say they're going to do that. They might actually, go out on a date, but I don't think that they actually wind up in like some amorous relationship with one person and then another throughout the month. It doesn't seem that way. It seems more like it's just not me. I'm really not somebody who can date a whole bunch. I tried it. I went out for, glass of wine. There were some attractive people. I, went out on a date with this person and, 20 minutes later we're shaking hands, parting ways. And then I tried one other date, but it just didn't work. There is the desire for passion though. But when I think push comes to shove, I don't know that Gemini really wants a night of passion with someone that they don't feel a really, really strong bond with. That's what this comes across to me as. And meanwhile, obviously we have that hanged man person who seems to be getting their act together. Nine of Swords, they may come in and kind of the nick of time, because it almost seems like Gemini is going to try dating a few other people. I don't think it's going to work real smooth because I don't think their heart's in it, not really. And then I think Gemini might find themselves getting a little bit stressed out over the whole concept of like love and, I'm footloose, fancy free and single. I said I was going to date, but honestly, I don't, I want something more meaningful. And it just kind of feels like if they start to get stressed, if our Gemini gets stressed in the month of May, about life and about love and about, romantic relationships and one night stands and all that. I kind of think that they're going to get super grounded. I think that Gemini might actually spend more time like with family all of a sudden and like shift gears again throughout the month, spend a little bit more time with people that they really have strong bonds with. Does that include this Hanged Man who seems to be getting himself pretty balanced? Seven of Pentacles, yes, at some point in time. By the way, that Hanged Man shifts into the Taurus energy with the Hierophant. The Hierophant can be obviously a powerful awakening, but also this is a card where somebody's like ready to really commit. This can be a card of even marriage. And seven is a divine number. So we can see that they are moving with intention towards Scorpio throughout the month. It could be like all this could play out on cycles of seven. So, for the first 7 days of the month, Scorpio could be saying, you know what, I'm seriously like, when is this person ever going to get unstuck? And then somewhere by the end of that week, it's like, wait a second, maybe I'm the one who needs to get unstuck. And then by the second week, the next 7 days, that's where Scorpio's like, or Gemini's going to go out and try to date. And then that's not really going to work. And then by the third week, it's like, I'm actually going to spend more time with family. And it's somewhere around there that this individual is showing back up or is gaining their own sense of stability. Let me go back to that Hierophant card for just a second. Yeah, that makes sense that it might be in intervals of seven, like the month will be broken up specifically. I mean, obviously 7 days out of the week, right? But almost like this whole process takes like 21 days before Gemini might hear from them. They may be coming in with an apology first, but it does look like we have a lot to still work out between Gemini and this person. This whole thing has been kind of set on the back burner for far too long. But then there have been some really valuable lessons for both Gemini and this person, right? Gemini has learned I was delaying also. They were delaying, but then I was delaying as well because I was waiting for them to stop being delayed, So these were really valuable lessons. But I also think that this connection comes back around because obviously these two have a very strong bond still. So I don't know. I feel like things are going to mature and take on a better shape throughout the month. We've got King of Pentacles. It did still come out sideways. I don't see by the end of May that these two have some perfectly harmonious relationship. I feel like they know what they're striving for. I feel like these two may have more like easy conversation. Certainly that Hanged Man could, now that they've shifted into that Taurus energy of the Hierophant, and now we've got a King of Pentacles energy. Although this can be shared energy, so both Gemini and they may both want to find like common ground. I don't know that this feels like some fabulous romance that these two are going to slide back into. More along the lines of the most important thing is that they find common ground so that the two of them can have some kind of like opportunity to build something stable. And then we can see about, is this going to be a successful romance? But it almost looks like both of them need stability before they start talking about the lovey-dovey stuff. So, I mean, it's definitely like a month of progression and kind of more serious energy. Sorry, I thought I knocked a card over. All right, I'm going to leave that there for right now. Geminis, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. Bye.